Hey guys, good morning and welcome to episode 59 of Costa Rica Real Estate and Investments with me, your host, Richard Bexon. Thank you very much for everyone for their support. I hope you guys are enjoying this podcast. It's great to get feedback from people saying how resourceful this has been. Again, there's not tons of information out there on building, developing, interior designs, architects, where to buy, where not to buy, what to build. Again, there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to investing in Costa Rica. But hey, we try to basically I suppose, simplify a lot of that and get the information out to you. For anyone that's enjoying it, please feel free to reach out to us directly, info@investingcostarica.com. That's info@investingcostarica.com. If anybody would like to come on the podcast, again, just have a talk, see what they're trying to do here. We've had quite a few of the listeners come on. It'd be great to get you on. Anyway, today we're going to be talking with Michael Schatz. Michael is actually an advisor for Engles Volkers in the US. This is a company that's focused on brokering real estate all over the world. Michael's been coming to Costa Rica for years, and he's recently invested in the northern Guanacaste area. So he's here to talk kind of about his journey, how he looks at investments here in Costa Rica, and also kind of giving us a bit of an idea of what's happening up there and also in the high-end market. We'll also discuss kind of larger parcels of land as well when it comes to developing here in Costa Rica. So we're going to touch on a variety of subjects here with Michael. Again, all of his contact details will be in the description for anybody that would like to contact him directly. Remember, you can reach out to us for anything that you need. info@investingcostarica.com. If you're thinking about investing in Costa Rica, have some questions, let us know. Maybe we might be able to help you, kind of put you in the right direction. And remember, if you would like to see any other future podcasts cover any subjects, just let us know. And let's just get straight into it. Good morning, Michael. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, Richard.
No, not at all. It's an absolute pleasure. And thanks for finding the time to come on the podcast. I know this is probably going to be a good one, and I'm sure that the listeners are going to find it very insightful.
I'm excited.
Whereabouts are you based at the moment, Michael?
I'm in Potrero. I'm looking at you on the screen, and I'm looking at the Pacific Ocean, and it's a beautiful day here.
Wow. Times are tough. Times are tough, sir. I actually spoke to my father in Sweden this morning, and he was saying that the snow is building up there. So he was like, hey, I'm going to book a flight to Costa Rica. I'm like, come on down. But anyway, you've been down here in Costa Rica for a while now. And I know that you've probably seen quite a lot. But I mean, over the past 6 months, I mean, what's really surprised you? And are there any trends that you're seeing?
I think what surprised me the most is the velocity of which people are coming and aggressively purchasing, whether it's land or condos or houses. I think COVID started the whole trend with a lot of people actually buying over FaceTime and not actually seeing the properties.
Yep.
But now they're coming. I'm noticing the crowds. I'm noticing the new nice SUVs going and driving around. But it's apparent based on how quickly things are trading that people are paying close attention, and you better make a move if you're interested in something that you like.
Yeah. I mean, do you think this trend is here to stay for the foreseeable future, or difficult question maybe to answer, but I know that you've been involved in financial markets and currency exchange kind of, most of your life up in Chicago. But I mean, do you think this is here to stay for the next, I don't know, a couple of years, or where do you foresee it going?
Well, I think I do. I think there's a lot of value here. And I think people are recognizing that, especially the more sophisticated buyer. The majority of the people are coming from North America to this particular area, and they're coming, and the perceived value of what they're buying is really attractive. And then living in Costa Rica or vacationing here or whatever their interest is. The lifestyle is affordable to them. And so I'll add to this that the spreads in which you can buy as an investment, use and rent, there's positive cash flow and appreciation, which doesn't necessarily exist any longer in the States. It may on a one-off, but it's pretty prevalent here. The same thing holds true with buying property and building. It's not for everybody because it's challenging to do in Costa Rica unless you know what you're doing. But the value of building is great. A lot depends on inflation rates in the States. They're creeping up, but I think there's an opportunity here for I think 3 to 5 years, maybe 5 to 7. I'm pretty bullish.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think, people need to look at Costa Rica. I mean, I think, as you said, there is a much better probably spread down here than what you're getting in the US. Inflation is going to attack any cash that you've got up there. And I think Costa Rica is a great, kind of wealth diversification place. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. I mean, prices are starting to go up a little bit, but they haven't gone crazy yet, have they?
No, and from what I am learning and speaking to a lot of the brokers that I work with, they're telling me that we're just getting back to 2007 levels.
Yep.
And so I think with that being said, I think there's a lot more upside. There's factors in this area that are showing, nothing but strength in the market. And so I think there's a play here, and I think there's an opportunity for most people coming down to make an investment.
What's your opinion on investing in an area that's probably, already, I would say somewhat developed compared to more of an up and coming kind of more of a sleepy kind of beach town? I mean, let's just take, if you're comparing, I don't know, Tamarindo with something like a Potrero, I mean, Tamarindo is very developed. Potrero is kind of, I say sleepy, but it's not that sleepy, but it's kind of like a little quieter. I mean, if you were to make, how would you compare making an investment in one or the other?
Well, I can give you my opinion personally, and then I'll give it to you objectively. And that would be, I'm all about Potrero. I'm all about the sleepy, quiet opportunity. I'm building a house in Pacific Heights, which is up on a mountain. I have to drive 8 minutes just to get to my lot. Well, when I get to my lot, it's very quiet, it's very beautiful. And those types of opportunities to have space, to have quiet, really don't exist in Tamarindo. Practically speaking, I think there's more opportunity in Potrero if you're comparing the two side by side, simply because there's a whole entire town of Tamarindo. So there's tourists and there's locals and there's traffic and there's stores. And so those things don't exist here today. I think they will, but not to the capacity of a Tamarindo. And so I think there's opportunity to have that. I think I've spoken to a few people that have left Los Sueños community and have left Tamarindo to come over here for the quiet. So it suits me personally. It suits people, I think, in general. But a safer investment would probably be Tamarindo, right? Because more people are familiar with it, and it's probably easier to get in and out of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty amazing just with the Tamarindo area now. It's just traffic. I mean, it was insane. I mean, I left there one Friday afternoon about 3 PM and queued for like 30 minutes just to get out. I mean, it was just, incredible. It's, and this is, I remember when Tamarindo was nothing and just, it was a, sleepy beach town with dusty roads. And, now it's got traffic and people walking around constantly. It's changed a lot.
Yeah, again, it's not for me, but it's attracting a certain profile, and Potrero's got a very different vibe.
Yep, I agree. Well, let's talk fact versus rumors here, just because, again, I think there's a lot of rumors going around and maybe not enough facts. I mean, what do you think listeners should really understand about investing in Costa Rica, and what things just aren't true?
Well, it's the whole culture is very different. So it's a change in behavior. It's a change in lifestyle for people. And it's one thing to come visit. It's another thing to want to live. Okay. And so for me, I've been running around, with my family and with my professional career and working hard for my whole life. And now I'm coming here to tone it down a little bit, but the energy is really positive for me. So when you talk about fact, fact is, I would look at fact as there's opportunity, there's value, there's a great life here. It's not easy to make the adjustment, and it's not easy without the proper support to make investments, because you have to consider a different currency, you have to consider Central America, you have to consider the laws, you have to make yourself familiar with how to do things. And I think that's probably the biggest challenge.
Yeah, I mean, I think anyone that's coming down that wants to basically have what they have in kind of North America and the ease of doing stuff down here in Costa Rica, that's just not going to happen. I mean, things happen a little slower. Maybe sometimes they're a bit more bureaucratic and complicated. But again, I mean, you know, you're paying for all of that with this amazing lifestyle, beautiful beaches, you know, great weather, and kind of relaxed way of living. You know, I'm working with a group at the moment, and they're actually just getting their well permits, and they're like, this is taking forever. And I'm like, I told you it wouldn't be easy. You know, I mean, if you want easy, you know, I mean, not Costa Rica is not difficult, but it's not easy, if that makes sense. I mean, you know, either. But again, I think it's well worth it. It's just a different pace of life, right?
I couldn't, that's well said, and a perfect way of putting things. I'm type A. I'm a little punctual, if anyone who's listening would certainly agree. And so I've had to adjust. And so a little less coffee, a little more yoga, but at the end of the day, I'm adjusting, and it's affecting me in a very positive way.
Yeah, I always joke with ticos that I'm like, when a tico says yes, it means maybe. When a tico says maybe, it means no, meaning they're not going to tell you no. So when someone says like see, it means that it might happen. You got a 50-50 chance. If someone says maybe, it ain't happening. And if someone says CCC, like yes, that basically means it's definitely not happening. So yeah.
I think that, right, that you can make a t-shirt on that, and people would buy that, right?
Yeah, probably. Well, let's talk about your investments yourself. I mean, what have you personally have invested in?
Well, I personally have invested in land. I think the opportunity for me as an investor and as a contractor, understanding, again, the spread, what it costs me to build, what it is worth when it's done, and what that use of money, my capital is how it's going to perform for me. So I'm buying land for investment. I'm actually building a house for my family, but I'm building products that the market is asking for. And so what do I mean by that? Surfside's a perfect example. It's a little beach town. It's a 5-minute walk. Houses are starting to trade 5, 6, maybe even 700,000. Yep. And you know, lots were trading 2 years ago for 50,000. Yep. So, you know, do the math there. But at the end of the day, you drive through Surfside and you see all this development. Anyone could just imagine what it's going to look like in 2 or 3 years. So I think there's a lot of opportunity in the 3, 4, 5 bedroom houses for investment, not only as a home, but as a build.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think, you know, there is a huge gap at the moment in those 3, 4, 5 bedroom home, you know, in range. And I was even talking on the last podcast with Lyle from Vacasa, kind of like, what's his opinion? And he was like, just the more bedrooms, the better, just because, again, from its rentability and resale, you know, there's a lot of 1 and 2 and 3 bedroom places. There aren't that many 4s, 5s, 6s, you know, and up. So the more bedrooms that you can get, you know, the better. Or at least if you can't afford to build that many bedrooms, leave the space and, you know, all the outlets and everything, all the piping and everything there, so that if you want to add a room on later, then you can do, because it's pretty cheap to do it here.
Yeah, the price to build is on the low end, and so cheap is a fair word. It's relative, yep. But it's a fraction of what it is in the States. Yep. And so I think what's surprising me the most is the super high end market. And I think that, I started by coming to Las Catalinas, which is a luxury village, if you will. And it really set the right tone for me, because when I went outside of the property, that's when I saw Potrero as like a very quiet, sleepy place. And so since I started investing, there's been very large parcels trading for large amounts of money with pretty seasoned and established developers that have deep pockets and that are putting plans in place to do very high-end product. I'm talking about $5 and $10 million houses, stuff in Papagayos, 5, 10, 20. And so that super high-end market is coming here now. And so I think that sets the tone for more opportunity for the average person.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree with that. I mean, it's again, having, been down here for quite a few years, it's always interesting seeing these trends. And we are seeing more, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, $7 million homes coming on the market and being sold as well. And I don't think we're even getting started. I mean, people say to Costa Rica, I mean, how developed is it down there? And I'm like, nothing compared to Hawaii and Mexico. I mean, when anyone talks about development in Costa Rica, I'm like, go and take a look in Mexico and take a look in Hawaii. I mean, Costa Rica just is nowhere even close. Take a boat on the ocean, look back, there's nothing.
Well, not only that, but think about, I've never been to Hawaii, but everyone always complains about the cost. Yep. I've been to Mexico. I'm talking just culturally, just the people.
Yep.
And I believe it's 35% of Costa Rica is protected environment. Yep. And so that's a big number. And so there is so much beautiful excursions to do, whether you want to drive 15 minutes or you want to drive 4 hours. But the ocean and the beaches here are magnificent. It's safe.
Yep.
It's clean. And Guanacaste is a blue zone.
Yep.
And so there's a lot of value here. That's
let's jump back into large parcels or large pieces of land here. I mean, do you think it's a good investment? And then for anyone that's looking to do that, what do you think that they should understand or what they should know when buying a large piece of land?
Well, I can only assume that anybody that's buying a piece of property that's 10, 50, 100 acres, 10, 20, 30, $40 million has a pretty sophisticated model and a platform with due diligence. They know the product, they know the market. And so they also have deep pockets in the sense that it could take them 2 years just to get permitted. And so the people that are buying are people that have access to Liberia Airport, direct flights, and will be coming down here. I would say that most of those people will not be living here permanently. I think it's a second, third, or fourth home. And the rental market here for very high-end properties is off the chart. And so I'm not sure that these super wealthy people are interested in renting the properties, but I know of a few in Mar Vista that are on the market for sale and 5 to 7.5 million. Yep. And their rental income is unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I found with large parcels of land is, the getting electricity and internet is easy here. Getting water, if you're going to develop it, depending on what it is you're going to do, but if you're going to put a residential or condominium kind of structure in it, and when I say condominium, I mean kind of homes, those kind of stuff. It's just kind of, the legal structure of it. I mean, water is key. So, I mean, if you're going to buy a big piece of land, you might have a well on it, but what does that well look like in March and April, the driest time of year? So you're going to have to really do your due diligence on that. And then also make sure that that well has sufficient water and also pressure to feed all of those homes. But I mean, preferably you'd want a SADA, a water association, pipe going pretty close by that you can tap into. And I always say to people, you better have deep pockets and you better be willing to be in it for, 10 to 20 years, and they're like, what, 10 to 20 years? And I'm like, Mar Vista has been around a long time, the one that you talked about there. I know Moose, I asked Moose, I was like, Moose, what was the one thing that you didn't think that you understood when you first did Mar Vista? He was like, I just didn't realize how much money I'd have to put into infrastructure in order to get it where it is, and just how long it would take. And I mean, I think that that's it, is it's not quick and easy, development here.
So you mentioned two things that I think are worth elaborating on. One is water. And so right now in this area, water continues to be critical, and they're not offering commercial water to any developers right now.
Yep.
So they're controlling development by water. The municipalities don't have a lot of checks and balances, if you will, like they do in the States. But the control that they have over these big projects is the water.
Yep.
And so that being said, projects are going to be 1, 2, 3 years to get water. And that water is the start of submitting permits. So that the process is going to take a while. You talk about infrastructure. I'm looking actually tomorrow afternoon at 50 acres of ocean view property in an undeveloped mountain outside of Potrero. Well, the infrastructure alone, I can't get up there in my ATV. And so in order for me to go put a value to be the listing broker on the property, or the purchaser, the buyer of the property, the seller is going to have to take a backhoe and make a road just to give me access. So you have tremendous infrastructure costs, and and all that infrastructure takes time. And so patience is the key. And Mar Vista, great example. They've been around for a long time, and the demand for security is very high. The demand for paved roads, very high. And the way they're doing things there is they're carving out one area at a time. Yep. And so they're building infrastructure for maybe 5 or 10 pads and making that like a subdivision, if you will, within the community, and their different price points. But all that needs to be considered. All that takes time, probably more time than anyone's used to, because it's Costa Rica. Yep. But I think if you have that understanding, I think it's a great opportunity.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, again, I've seen a lot of, projects here be very successful. I'm talking very large projects here, like Mar Vista, Los Sueños, Las Catalinas. I mean, as Catalinas started in 2005, I remember going to see it when it was kind of, getting started. Los Sueños has been around since the 90s, and now they have nothing else to sell. Los Sueños is done. So, I think we're going to start to see some stuff come online. I know Pinilla has some new communities coming online there, and they have a lot more space. But I think for anybody that want to develop a larger project, they just need to understand it's going to be a long process for a large project, but also is, yes, you will make money, but you're probably going to be making it after, I'd probably say 7-year mark, once you've started to, get a little bit of movement.
Let's talk about Las Catalinas, because I'm pretty familiar. Yep. I believe they've been around since 2005, 6, 7, right in there. Yep. The Liberia airport was a strong consideration, a big push by them, because they needed North Americans direct access. So they got that. They're now 2021, almost 22. They're just about to release 60 more home sites up above the main road. Yep. And that will put them at about 40% completion. So they are scaling in a very calculated way. They're considering bringing in a boutique, European boutique hotel operator to take a parcel. So they're doing some very calculated growth. But the demand for a product like that is very strong. There's maybe 2 or 3 houses to buy there right now on resale.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think Las Catalinas is just very unique. I mean, there's nothing like it in Costa Rica. I mean, the only stuff that I could compare it to would be something like a Hacienda Pania, Reserva Conchao, and Los Sueños. But even then, it's different. I mean, these guys are building a town, but I mean, there is billionaires behind it. So, it's a little bit of a different ball game, I would say. But those guys have done a great job. I mean, I had the opportunity in I think it was 08, 09 to buy a 2-bedroom apartment there for I think it was 190,000. I kick myself now.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah, but hey, I bought in Panama anyway, and that did pretty well. That turned,
Good for you.
at that time, so I can't complain. But yeah, I mean, I think we're going to start to see some of these, these beach towns start to develop and some of these developments. So it's going to be interesting to see where it goes. But Michael, my last question for you, just because I've kept you long enough, is if you inherited $500,000 and had to invest it into a business or real estate in Costa Rica, what would you do with it and why?
I would buy a 2 or 3 bedroom ocean view condo.
Okay.
I got in my inbox today 2 different opportunities of stuff from local brokers that send me stuff every day. And I think that would be easy and safe. I would use it. I would rent it. I would cash flow, and I'd get the appreciation. It's an easy choice.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, Michael, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast. I really appreciate you coming on. Anyone that wants to get in contact with Michael, I'm going to put all of his contact details in the description. And again, thanks very much for your time, sir.
Oh, I had a ball. Thanks, Richard. Great talking to you.
Speak to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Hey guys, another good podcast there. I hope you enjoyed it there. Michael gave us some great insight, as a investor in the area and with his background there in finance. I think it was really interesting how he talks about the spread being so much down here in Costa Rica. I mean, spread being, the actual return, what you can buy it for and what you can sell it for, or what you can build it for, being much greater down here in Costa Rica in the US now. So you're starting to see a lot of that money kind of trickle its way down here, and it's gathering speed. So, and we can, and again, prices aren't going, crazy at the moment. They're starting to increase a little bit, but Costa Rica's steady Eddie. Every single year, we don't see these hockey, shaped increases here. It's usually just steady increases year over year. So a great wealth diversification play, and also kind of more of a lifestyle investment down here in Costa Rica. Remember, guys, if anybody wants to get in contact with us, you can do it. info@investingcostarica.com. That's info@investingcostarica.com. Appreciate you guys to give us a review, subscribe, thumbs up, and really appreciate all the support that everyone's giving. Hope everyone's enjoying these podcasts, and I'll speak to you next time on the podcast. Thanks, guys.